A bonfire is a large but controlled outdoor fire, used either for informal disposal of burnable waste material or as part of a celebration. Regional traditions. In many regions of continental Europe, bonfires are made traditionally on the 16th of January, the solemnity of John the Baptist, as well as on Saturday night before Easter. Bonfires are also a feature of Walpurgis Night in Central and Northern Europe, and the celebrations on the eve of St. John's Day in Spain. In Finland, bonfires are tradition on Midsummer Eve and Easter, also in midst of May celebrations. Alpine and Central Europe, bonfire traditions of early spring, lit on the Sunday following Ash Wednesday, are widespread throughout the Alemannic German-speaking regions of Europe and in parts of France. The burning of winter in effigy at the Sechslauten in Zurich is inspired by this Alemannic tradition. In Austria, Osterfeuer, Easter fires, are widespread, but also regulated in some cities, districts and countries to hold down the resulting annual peak of 10 p.m. dust emission. There are also Sonnenwindfeuer ignited on the evening of the 21st of June. Since 1988, Feuer in Den Alpen have been lit on a day in August on mountains so they can be seen from afar as an appeal for sustainable development of mountain regions. In the Czech Republic, the festival called Burning the Witches takes place on the night between the 30th of April and the 1st of May. This is a very old and still observed folk custom and special holiday. On that night, people gather together, light bonfires, and celebrate the coming of spring. In many places people erect maypoles. The night between the 30th of April and the 1st of May was considered magical. The festival was probably originally celebrated when the moon was full, closest to the day exactly between the spring equinox and summer solstice. People believed that on this night witches fly on the Sabbath, and indeed this is one of the biggest pagan holidays. People also believed, for example, in the opening of various caves and underground caverns in which treasures are hidden. The main purpose of this old folk custom was probably a celebration of fertility. To protect themselves against witches, people lit bonfires in high places, calling these fires burning the witches. Some people took to jumping over the fire in order to ensure youth and fertility. The ash from these fires supposedly had a special power to raise crops, and people also walked the cattle through the ashes to ensure fertility. Australia. In Australia, bonfires may be lit to celebrate Commonwealth Day of the Queen's official birthday. Canada. Due to the historic connection to Britain, the province of Newfoundland and Labrador have many communities that celebrate Bonfire Night. This is one of the times when small rural communities come together. In the province of Quebec, many communities light up bonfires on the 24th of June to celebrate St. Jean-Baptiste Day. In India, particularly in Punjab, people gather around a bonfire and eat peanuts and sweets during the festival of Lohri to celebrate the winter solstice which occurred during the Indian month of March. People have bonfires on communal land. If there has been a recent wedding or a newborn in the family, people will have a bonfire outside the house to celebrate this event. The festival falls in the second week of January every year. In Assam, in the northeastern part of India, a harvest festival called Bhogli Bihu was celebrated to mark the end of the harvest season in mid-January. In southern parts of India, particularly in Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and Mumbai, the Bhogi festival is celebrated on the last day of Markali, which is also the first day of the farmer festival Pongal. People collect unwanted items from the houses and set them on fire in a bonfire to celebrate. During the 10 days of Vijayadashami, effigies of Ravana, his brother Kumbhakarna and son Meghanad are erected and burnt by enthusiastic youths at sunset. Traditionally, a bonfire on the day of Holi marks the symbolic annihilation of Holika, the demoness, as described above. Arashavashan Bisuri is a fire-jumping festival celebrated by Persian people, Kurdish people and some other people in the world. The event takes place on the eve of the last Wednesday before Nowruz, loosely translated as Wednesday light, from the word sur, which means light in Persian, or more plausibly, consider sur to be a variant of sur and take it to refer either to the fire itself or to the ruddiness, meaning good health or ripeness, supposedly obtained by jumping over it. Is an ancient Iranian festival dating back to at least 1700 BCE of the early Zoroastrian era. Also called the Festival of Fire, it is a prelude to Nowruz, which marks the arrival of spring. The words Chavhashanba mean Wednesday and Suri means red. Bonfires are lit to keep the sun alive until early morning. The celebration usually starts in the evening, with people making bonfires in the streets and jumping over them singing, Zadi Man Arizona TOH, Swaki TOH Arizona Man. The literal translation is, my yellow is yours, your red is mine. This is a purification rite. Loosely translated, this means you want the fire to take your pallor, sickness, and problems and in turn give you redness, warmth, and energy. There is Zoroastrian religious significance attached to Chavhashan Basuri, and it serves as a cultural festival for Iranian and Iranic people. Another tradition of this day is to make special Chavhashan Basuri ajal, or mixed nuts and berries. People wear disguises and go door to door knocking on doors as similar to trick-or-treating. Receiving of the ajil is customary, as is receiving of a bucket of water. Ancient Persians celebrated the last 5 days of the year in their annual obligation feast of All Souls, Hamas Pathmidea. They believed Faravaha, the guardian angels for humans and also the spirits of dead, would come back for reunion. There are the 7 Amesha Spenta, that are represented as the Haft Sin. These spirits were entertained as honor guests in their old homes, and were bidden a formal ritual farewell at the dawn of the new year. The festival also coincided with festivals celebrating the creation of fire and humans. In Sassanid period, the festival was divided into 2 distinct pantads, known as the Lesser and the Greater Pantad, or Panji as it is called today. Gradually the belief developed that the Lesser Panji belonged to the souls of children and those who died without sin, whereas Greater Panji was truly for all souls. Throughout Ireland, bonfires are lit on the night of the 31st of October to celebrate Halloween or Samhain. Bonfires are also held on the 30th of April, particularly in Limerick, to celebrate the festival of Beltane, and on St. John's Eve, the 23rd of June, to celebrate Midsummer's Eve, particularly in County Cork, where it is also known as Bonner Night. Scotland, the annual rock and dance music Wickerman Festival takes place in Kirkcudbrightshire, Scotland. Its main feature is the burning of a large wooden effigy on the last night. The Wickerman Festival is inspired by the horror film The Wickerman, a film itself inspired by the Roman accounts of the Celtic Druids' ritual burning of a wicker effigy. In Israel, on the eve of Lag BaOmer, bonfires are lit on to commemorate the Mishnaic sage Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, who according to tradition died on Lag BaOmer. Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai is accredited with having composed the Kabbalistic work the Zohar. The main celebration takes place at Rabbi Shimon's tomb on Mount Meron in northern Israel, but all over the country bonfires are lit in open spaces, linked by modern Jewish tradition to the Bar Kokhba revolt against the Roman Empire. Lag BaOmer is very popularly observed and celebrated as a symbol for the fighting Jewish spirit. As Lag BaOmer draws near, children begin collecting material for the bonfire: wood boards and planks, old doors, and anything else made of wood. On the night itself, families and friends gather round the fires and youths will burn the bonfires till daybreak. In Iraq, bonfires lit to celebrate the Feast of the Cross by the Assyrian Christians. Beside the bonfire, every household hangs traditionally a lighted fire in the roof of the house. In northeast Italy, the celebration Panevana Foghiera a Pignarol is held in the evening of Epiphany's Eve. A straw witch dressed with old clothes is placed on a bonfire and burned to ash. The witch symbolizes the past, and the direction of the smoke indicates whether the new year is going to be good or bad. The northern Italian La Vecchia is a version of the Wicker Man bonfire effigy, which is burned once a year as part of town festivals. As depicted in the film Amarcord by Federico Fellini, it has a more pagan Christian connotation when it is burned on Mid-Lent Thursday. In southern Italy, traditionally bonfires are lit in the night between January 16th and 17th, thought to be the darkest and longest night of the year. The celebration is also linked to the cult of St. Anthony the Great, Japan. Every 16th of August, the ancient city of Kyoto holds the Gozen no Okuribi, a Buddhist bonfire-based spectacle, which marks the end of the *Obon season. Luxembourg. The Luxembourgish town of Rimage annually holds a 3-day-long celebration for Carnival, called Fous and Carnaval in Luxembourgish. The celebration of the Rimage Fous and Carnaval celebrations concludes with the Bergbrennen, a bonfire that marks the end of winter. Nordic countries. In Iceland, bonfires are traditional on New Year's Eve, and on the 6th of January, which is the last day of the Icelandic Christmas season. In Norway and Denmark, large bonfires are lit on the 23rd of June to celebrate Jonsok or St. Hansaften, the evening before John the Baptist's birthday. As many other traditions in Scandinavia, St. Hans is believed to have a pagan origin. The celebration of Midsummer's Eve. In Sweden, Walpurgis Night is celebrated on the 30th of April, which includes the burning of a bonfire. In Finland, Midsummer Eve is celebrated with large bonfires. Poland. In Poland, bonfires are traditionally and still enthusiastic burned during Feast of Saints Peter and Paul, Pentecost Day and St. John Night is Sobotki, Ogni Świętojański, Palenoka or Enosi Kupali on June 23-24. On 23 and the 24th of June, according to ancient custom, an immense number of Polish persons of both sexes repaired to the banks of the San Vistula and Odra River, to consult fate respecting their future fortunes. Jumping through a fire on the eve of St. John's was a sure way to health. The leaping of the youths over fire must be a custom derived from remote antiquity. Jan Kochanowski, who died in 1584, mentions it in a song from an ancient tradition. Varro and Ovid relate that in the Palilia, celebrated in honor of the goddess Pales, on the 20th of April, the anniversary of the foundation of Rome, the young Romans leaped over burning bundles of hay. In modern Italy, this kind of saltation is continued by the name of Sabatina, though Pope Sergius III prohibited. Lithuania. In Lithuania, bonfires lit to celebrate St. John's Eve. Bonfires may be lit to keep witches and evil spirit away. Slavic Europe. In Bosnia and Herzegovina, Croatia, Serbia, Bulgaria and Slovenia, bonfires are traditionally lit on the evening before May 1st, commemorating Labor Day. In the Czech Republic and Slovakia, bonfires are also held on the last night of April and are called Filip Jakob's Night, or Burning of the Witches. They are considered to be historically linked with Walpurgis Night and Beltane. In Russia, bonfires are traditionally burned on November 17th. Turkey. In Turkey, bonfires lit on Hydrellez Day believed to be the awakening day of nature at the beginning of spring. Celebrated on the 5th of May. United Kingdom. In the United Kingdom and some Commonwealth countries, bonfires are lit on Guy Fawkes Night, a yearly celebration held on the evening of the 5th of November to mark the failure of the gunpowder plot of the 5th of November, 1605, in which a number of Catholic conspirators, including Guy Fawkes, attempted to destroy the House of Lords in London. In Northern Ireland, bonfires are lit on Halloween, October 31st, and each the 11th of July. Bonfires are lit by many Protestant communities to celebrate the victory of Williamite forces at the Battle of the Boyne, which took place on the 12th of July 1690. This is often called the 11th night. Bonfires have also been lit by Catholic communities on August 9 since 1972 to protest and commemorate internment. United States. In New England, on the night before the 4th of July, towns competed to build towering pyramids, assembled from hogsheads and barrels and casks. They were lit at nightfall to usher in the celebration. The highest were in Salem, Massachusetts, composed of as many as 40 tiers of barrels. These are the tallest bonfires ever recorded. The practice flourished in the 19th and 20th centuries, and can still be found in some New England towns. On Christmas Eve in southern Louisiana, bonfires are built along the Mississippi River levees to light the way for Papa Noel as he moves along the river in his pirogue pulled by 8 alligators. This tradition is an annual event in St. James Parish, Louisiana. Farm and garden bonfires. Bonfires are used on farms, in large gardens and allotments to dispose of waste plant material that is not readily composted. This includes woody material, pernicious weeds, diseased material and material treated with persistent pesticides and herbicides. Such bonfires may be quite small but are often designed to burn slowly for several days so that wet and green material may be reduced to ash by frequently turning the unburnt material into the center. Such bonfires can also deal with turf and other earthy material. The ash from garden bonfires is a useful source of potash and may be beneficial in improving the soil structure of some soils, although such fires must be managed with safety in mind. Garden and farm bonfires are frequently smoky and can cause local nuisance if poorly managed or lit in unsuitable weather conditions.